The Stafford Historical Society's most recent meeting was held at the site of city founder William J. Stafford's grave.
We thank you for coming out today. William Stafford was one of Stephen F. Austin's old 300. He was one of Austin's most trusted scouts from 1764 to 1840. Therefore, he was awarded with 1.5 leagues of land for his service in the winter of 1824. His land was known from Dulles Avenue in the back all the way back to Highway 90A, which became known as Stafford's Point. Stafford brought his family and his slaves from his Louisiana sugar plantation. He was planting much of the land and had a sugar mill and a cotton gin in operation by 1834. His manager, Clement C. Dyer, was a lawyer, a political leader, and later county judge. He also married Stafford's daughter, Sarah. Early residents of the Stafford Point community included families of Sam Bell, Elijah Rourke. Remember that name? There's a Rourke Street in Stafford. Dr. P.W. Rose, Moses Shipman, and Mr. West. Dr. Rose, a former U.S. Army surgeon, tended the sick and also hired a teacher for his children. His children attended school with 10 others in a one-room schoolhouse. Stafford was an experienced plantation manager and livestock raiser. He had plantations in Mississippi and Louisiana, and soon his successful operation here became known as Stafford's Point. He had a cane mill, a horse-powered gin, and planted the first sugar cane in Fort Bend County. I know as a little girl, I always thought the sugar refinery in Sugar Land was the first place for it, but it wasn't. It was right here on William Stafford's land. The sugar was a welcome crop, as it was the only sweet available from honey by wild bees. William Stafford maintained 2 residences here, a summer place on the prairie and a place on the farm on Oyster Creek at Stafford Lake for the rest of the year. The road was nearly 2 miles long that connected the 2 homes. The Stafford Plantation was a safe and prosperous area that attracted a growing population. Soon, Stafford's Point became the social center of the Gulf Coast area. Families listed in the census were Jesse Thomas, Elijah Rourke, remember that name, Abner Kirkendall, Jesse and Robert Cartwright, Gail and Thomas Barton, and William Stiles. On weekends, many traveled on Old Spanish Trail to the William Plantation for barbecue and merrymaking. In 1835, Stafford left Stafford's Point after killing a man named Moore. Circumstances regarding the killing are vague, but Moore seems to have been known as a troublemaker and much addicted to brawls. Fearing he would not be able to obtain justice, Stafford fled to Louisiana, leaving behind his plantation and his family. He appointed his wife as his agent and left much of his property to his 4 grown children. He was given clemency and moved back to Stafford Point. Records show later William Stafford died and is buried on this land. In 1991, the great great-granddaughter, Mrs. Nellie Hilmers from Victoria, bought and set the monument on this land in his honor. Mrs. Hilmers also donated his gun to be placed at Stafford City Hall, the town that bears his name. And that's all we have for you today. I could tell you a lot about William Stafford because I've read so much on him. I read like 8 different resources because I wanted to get the story straight. I wanted to get it right. And in all 8, they're exactly the same. So William Stafford was a terrific person. We're so glad that he stopped in Stafford. Of course, this land was, all of his plantation was burned by Santa Anna, but he came back, he and his wife from Louisiana, and they rebuilt it. So is that not determination or what? I welcome any member of the Historical Society or anybody who has anything they would like to add. If you'd like to come up and give us a few words, we'd appreciate it.
There are several people I've got to follow in my career in Stafford, and this is one of them. There's nothing left to say after Sadie speaks. But thank you for being here. I think it's important that we go back and look at our history. History to me is a teacher where you know what is good and bad and don't make the same bad mistakes again. So I think it's important that we not forget our history and build upon that and improve upon that. There's also one thing that I have known throughout my whole life. Timing is very important. About this same time last Saturday, a number of us were in Galveston at a Texas Municipal League meeting. And we went all around the room introducing ourselves. I was on this side, and the individual I'm going to tell you about was way over on this side. So after I introduced myself and told them about all the great things of Stafford, as we moved around the room, this gentleman stood up and said, "My last name is Stafford. And if it wasn't for my family, you would have accomplished no great things." So you talk about timing. So I want to call Brad Stafford up here to make some comments. We're still trying to determine whether he's the 4th, 5th, or 6th great-grandson. They're working on that. But both sides have done the DNA independently. He told me he is a Stafford. So Brad.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say thanks. It's awesome for us to be here. My wife and daughter are back in the back. My daughter is one of the ones who did the DNA testing, and it traced us back. I have a second cousin that also did some DNA testing, and he was traced back as well. But this is my first time actually to be on this site, and it's really awesome. I actually told them I came here to get more information about my family, so anybody that can help us out, it would be great, and it's been great to meet all of you guys.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you very much. We also have one other person I'd like to introduce you to, and that's Jeffrey Hoffman. Jeffrey is from Fort Bend County, and he has some exciting news to tell us about something that's happening out that way.
I teach a citizenship class to a group of recent immigrants to this area. Of course, the old 300 were the first immigrants to this area in historic times. But one of the questions that I get is, Fort Bend County, well, where's the fort? And how did it get bent? And the answer to that question actually is a little bit complicated, but this happens to be the 200th anniversary of the construction of, I think fort might be a little bit euphemistic to the structure that they erected, but the structure that they erected in the bend of the Brazos River in 1822. And it's that structure from which Fort Bend County took its name. In order to commemorate that anniversary, the county is putting on a museum crawl and a history fair on September 10th. All the festivities are going to be centered around the Homestead Park across from the Justice Center in Richmond, but there are going to be 3 guided tours, bus tours, that have 3 different themes to them. Stafford Point happens to be on one of those tours. It's going to be the Sugar Bowl Trail, and it's going to be a tour that includes the Dew House down in Missouri City, the Freedom Tree, Stafford's Point, unfortunately not here because we can't access this site normally. It will be over by the library where the historical marker is for Stafford's Point. And then the Sugarland Heritage Museum and the Sugarland 95. And there are going to be 2 other guided tours that go to other parts of the county with historical sites. They're all going to have different themes. And if you can't make it on September 10th, if you go to the Historical Commission website after that date, there will be a button for history tours, and all of the history tours will be populated on that site with all of the information that you would get if you were on one of the guided bus tours. At Homestead Park, we're going to have music by the Celtaires. We're going to have an archaeology dig and exhibit. The county clerk is going to have an exhibit of historic documents from Fort Bend County, possibly including the grant to Stafford. We'll have 6 different interactive exhibits and demonstrations of various kinds of colonial era crafts, and you can even get your own land grant with the Texian Time Machine folks that day. In any event, please come out on September 10th, and we hope to see you there. Oh, and it's free.
Thank you, Jeffrey. And the very last thing that we have, of course, we have our Stafford history books on sale back over here with Antonia. They're $75. They are bound leather, and we're very proud of them. If you'd like one, we'd like for you to have one. So that really concludes everything today. Please get you some water before leaving, and we're glad that you came out to hear a little bit more about William Stafford, because we're very proud of everything that he did. And is there anybody that would like to add anything? Louis, do you want to add something?
My name is Louis Katz. We came in 1941 to Stafford. I'm not here to talk about Stafford. I really want to say one thing. We appreciate everyone coming, but I want to say a big thank you to a woman that will drive you crazy if you don't get the water here, if you don't get the chairs here, if we don't get the sound here. Y'all have no idea the speeches that are made in front of City Council all happen right here. Thank you, Sadie. Thank you very much.